An original.
From Story Studio Network.
Well, hello, here we go. Look at this. It's a Friday. You can tell by the wardrobe, right? Those of you who are new to the program will know that a number of years ago, we started out with the Ugly Shirt Friday. Yeah, my son and I went to the mall one day following his mom around, and we got distracted at some, weird clothing store in one of the malls, and they had these really ugly shirts. So we bought one for each of us. Off we went, and Friday was Ugly Shirt Friday. That's been going on now for 20 odd years. Just for me. He gave it up after summer one. I've got a closet full of these. Yeah. Welcome in. It is the Friday thread here on Now and Next. So it's just a kind of a fun thing we're doing. We've been doing it since, I got kicked off the morning show on News Talk 1010. So I've got some time on Friday mornings. I don't know why. Anyway. I'm embarrassed by the number of people who are offended on my behalf, by the way. All this happened, so it's kind of funny. So if you want more details, by all means, just look me up on the socials. This we post on Threads, but you know what, I'm going to start posting it everywhere. So Facebook, Instagram, Threads, LinkedIn, Twitter, at Dave Trafford. Yeah, so it's all good fun. And I'm glad that you are able to join us this week. It's just been kind of a cool thing. Here we are heading into the first week of August, and we're getting all set. The girls are coming from Nova Scotia. We're excited about that. Not quite sure what my podcasting schedule is going to be like next week. I will want their undivided attention. So we're looking forward to having Marigold and Piper and Aaron and Dan join us here in Upper Canada next week. So otherwise, just keep an eye on the social media, and we'll keep you up to date on what's going on. I'm Dave Trafford. Thanks for being here. It is Now and Next. Had a good week on the show. And by the way, I'm going to recap some of what we did on the show on my LinkedIn newsletter. Although LinkedIn got to get their shit together, because they offer up this newsletter idea. So the idea is that you can go to my LinkedIn page and then subscribe to follow the newsletter. Well, I'm sorry, it's not available right now. It drives me crazy. Anyway, I've been posting them as articles. And as I said, recapping some of the stuff we've done on the podcast during the week, which has been fun. And also giving you my most interesting podcasts I've listened to this week that aren't on Story Studio Network. I know, it's hard to believe. Now, some of them are. I'll give you two or three of the shows that are on the network right now that popped this week. Last week it was One Click to Cyber Chaos and Engineering with Nature. Two cool shows that we do here in the studio. And then also, the most interesting thing I have read on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, okay, that's fine. But it's one of those places where, if you're kind of in this content creation world where business, politics, culture really kind of have a mature conversation. I mean, there's no snarkiness or no bullshit on LinkedIn. Now that I've said that, watch. Right. Anyway, you can go to my page there at Dave Trafford. You'll find me on LinkedIn, and we will post the newsletter usually on a Sunday. So anyway, go in and dig out the ones that we've already done. But we will review, again, some of the most interesting things that we have read on LinkedIn this week. And there's lots of it. So highlight a couple of articles anyway. Last week it was a piece that Aaron wrote. So yeah, it was in my inbox, and so I highlighted that in the newsletter. And a couple of really cool, and I mean cool, podcasts from the folks at Radiolab. One of them, I swear to God, you're going to think I'm an idiot. Well, that lineup's probably pretty long already. Anyway, it was about scientists who study the rings on tree stumps. That's a thing. And it's not just a thing, it's a whole history lesson. How they can read the rings on a tree stump and relate it to key moments in history, like the slave trade in North America. Fascinating. You got to go. So check out the newsletter on LinkedIn at Dave Trafford. And, flip through. If you like it, share it. That'd be good too. So, yeah, and it's just going to be, sort of a slow down couple of weeks, I think, as we head into August. And then I think I might have mentioned my wife has retired. And she is finding the retirement rather busy, as most retired folks do. It's just not busy sitting behind the computer doing work at the hospital. She used to be the CIO at St. Mike's Hospital, now Unity Health. Great team there. And it was nice to kind of watch and see how, her send-off went. You get a really interesting perspective of somebody, I've known for most of my life. And, you get a different perspective in terms of how and what it is they do when you hear from the people that they interact with every day, they work with, they're involved with. So it was kind of a neat experience to sort of walk through her retirement farewell tour and see how it was playing out. Anyway, the point is, she's very busy getting ready for the girls to come to town. So now I'm kind of, on my own here a little bit more in the studio and working my way through it. But what we did do this week, we actually went out on a weeknight. Now, her schedule used to be so crazy and chaotic and intense, trying to, and up early, right? So trying to keep up on a weeknight and then get up and out the door for 6 o'clock in the morning sometimes would have been a bit of a push. But here's the beauty of it. In my inbox recently, I get an email from one of my music friends, Grant Crawford. Grant is among the guys that I went to Abbey Road with back in 2015. And I told that story to somebody yesterday. I said, yeah, we went to Abbey Road. Oh, yeah. Did you take a picture? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we took a picture. We actually recorded original music at Abbey Road. So as it turned out, Grant was playing in a band that was playing in a pub in our neighborhood. And we just decided on a Wednesday night to go out and listen to music at a pub. And it was jammed. It was just full of folks. And it was really kind of fun to watch the whole thing unfold and, just get a sense of how important it is to see people in person again. And among those peoples that I got to see was Evelyn Macko. And Evelyn, of course, if you are in Toronto, you will know Evelyn as, one of the formidable news voices here in the city of Toronto. She has been a veteran broadcaster for years, but also now is involved in teaching. She mentors young broadcasters. So it was really kind of fun to catch up with Evelyn and, she's married to Grant, so we also shared that Abbey Road experience years ago. So it was just good fun. And you know what? We're up to having some good fun these days. I think we're ready to do that. So it was nice to be able to get out, share a beer, share some lies, kick around some stories, and get to a point where it was going to be just talking about shit that we hadn't talked about in years. Yes, yes, we did. We complained a little bit about the radio business for sure. No question about it. So, and that happens. You get a room full of broadcasters and longtime broadcasters together. You can't help but spend some time bitching about it. But here's the fun part. I was going through some archives this week, and I've got, tons of stuff that I have kept. You can see in the background there, I got the radios and all my credentials from various events that I've covered over the years. There's one up there you can probably, I don't know if you can see it, just over my head, there's a little yellow tag there if you're watching on the video. It's actually my accreditation to get me in to see a speaker at the Royal York Hotel. I think it was back in 2000. Guy by the name of Vladimir Putin. Yeah, you might have heard of him. Anyway, I just keep that stuff. I think every one of those lanyards could tell a story. There's a story attached to every one of them. So to be, maybe one of these days, we'll start that series, right? But here's one of the things that came up. Years ago, the McGuinty government here in Ontario decided that they wanted to launch a campaign to make sure that we were, saving energy, saving money and saving energy. And just a friendly reminder that every time you left the room, make sure you turned off the light. And they said, just flick the switch, right? Flick it. Except they didn't say flick it. They said just flick it off. They didn't say it, though. And they made a campaign up. Had stickers, and they wanted you to put the stickers beside the light switch on the wall. And so we all showed up, and Lauren Broughton was the Minister of Energy at the time. And she was the one who presented the new campaign. And that's what it looked like. Yeah, you can't unsee it, can you? It was a flick off campaign. And some clever individual, I can imagine the creative guys thinking, look what we're going to do, man. Yeah, for those of you who aren't following along on the video, the L and the I are kind of jammed together in flick. So they look like a U. Yeah, in no uncertain terms, the sticker says fuck off. There's even a website, www.fuckoff.org. And the minister, with a straight face, said, this is our new flick off campaign. Well, nobody, and I mean nobody was buying that. So I just found that page of decals in one of my file folders the other day. That's the kind of stuff I keep. I know it drives my wife crazy, but I keep it all in here. So this is my space. It's my room. It's really fun. All good. Okay, so here's what we want to do. I had threatened, promised, cajoled, questioned whether or not you guys might be interested in talking a little bit more about storytelling beyond journalism and beyond the kind of work we do in podcasting with some of our clients, some great stories we tell, but more or less around the music that I have been involved in. The Abbey Road story is a good one. We'll get to that one day. But it's about the songs and it's about the instruments. So it all started with me with a little fella called Winston. I'm going to introduce you to Winston. Stand by. All right. This is Winston. Oh, bonk. You can see his name there in the sound hole. Winston. And he would be, I'm not really technical on this stuff, but I think it's kind of a concert, not a concert, parlor guitar, more or less. It's a smaller guitar. And this has been in my world since 1969. And the guitar showed up under the Christmas tree that year. And I had no idea how to play it. So it wasn't until about a year or so later that I was at school, and the principal of the school decided that he was going to teach us how to play the guitar if we wanted to play music at First Friday Masses. Yep, went to the Catholic school, so we went to the Catholic church every first Friday of the month, and he taught us how to play so we could jam along and sing the songs at church. And here's, kind of probably what it sounded like a little bit. On those two quarters. Yeah, maybe. And then it got really hard when we threw the third chord in it because it was like this. Right? But we thought we were really fancy because we could go. Yeah, we nailed it, baby. Reminds me of that song Harry Chapin did called The Six String Orchestra. If you haven't heard that one, check it out. Kind of had that feel to it. But this was the guitar I learned on. And eventually, that turned into, a full, I could do that. Now, it took probably the better part of 6 months to get there. Yeah. And then it's a little out of tune. That's okay. So off we would go and we would be playing. And when I play this guitar now, it's a wonder I stuck with it because it's, it's not a great guitar, but the intonation's pretty good. But it's hard to play. It's a nylon string guitar, but still the strings are, a little off the neck. So you really have to push down. Now, if they had steel strings, I probably would have quit right there. But I hung in there. So I remember, and here's the story of a song related to the guitar where the light went on. I'm learning, and John Denver was, sort of top of the charts in those days. And I got this new record from John Denver record. I think it's Back Home Again. And I'm listening to it, and there's one song on there. It's called This Old Guitar. And it's a story about a guitar that got stolen. And it belonged to his grandmother, John Denver's. So there's an emotional connection. The beauty of it is, the story finishes with him recovering the guitar. And so he takes the guitar and he writes the song called This Old Guitar. And it's 3 or 4 chords, right? And that was a hard chord to play. This is even harder for small hands and new players. But I got there. And that's basically the whole feel to the song. And I would play along. And then we are. But he had this fancy thing when I got the music book out. And all of a sudden, it opened things up completely for me as a player. And I remember working my ass off to get it, to nail it, to really figure it out. And then finally it worked. Finally I got it. No buzzing, no bumping, no missing chords, nothing. And I went upstairs and I showed my dad that I had done this. So it went just like before. Right? And he's listening. But then it goes like this. there's a bass run there. I know it just doesn't sound all that complicated, but boy, the light go on for me. And my dad was just thrilled that I had been so excited about making this accomplishment. And then he said, but listen to what he's doing, John Denver. He's not strumming. He's using his fingers to make that. And so then I really worked, and it became. And the run really sounds good then. A little buzz. And that's Winston. And Winston still hangs on the wall in the studio. And maybe, I don't know, once every couple of months, take him down, tune him up, play this old guitar. And some of the songs that I learned to play when I was a kid. And if I hadn't had that, right, it wasn't any one moment. Mom and Dad realized I was interested. So they got the guitar. And it sat there, and I jammed and made noise. And, you know, I think I played the Batman. Right, Batman thing going. I could do that. That was it. But it wasn't until I got to school that day, the principal says, you want to learn? Sure. And then we were motivated to learn. And then off we went. And each of us who played sort of made our own way. And Winston is one of about 20 stringed instruments I have in the studio. And I don't play any of them really well, but I just have fun playing them. When I met my mates from the Abbey Road reunion and other friends last night, they said, wow, when was the last time I saw you? I said, probably like 3 new guitars ago. Since then, yeah, I've added to the collection. So we can go through some of that. It's just fun. And if you've got a story that you want to share, maybe about a song that has a story attached to it, maybe it's a song you wrote, maybe it's an instrument that you have, why don't you fire it off to me? That'd be kind of fun. And you can do that either in the comments on the YouTube channel. You can actually find us on the YouTube channel. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, would you? I'm supposed to remind you of that. Otherwise, you can hit me up on social media. The at Dave Trafford gets to me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Threads, so on. But also, hello at Story Studio Network is our address. So there's no excuse. If you have got a story that you want to share that's kind of in keeping with that music storytelling, by all means, let's share it, shall we? And maybe next week I'll introduce you to the first real fancy guitar I got and the stories behind that one. The other thing is to remember, by the way, we are on the air as podcasts, so to speak, and I put that in air quotes, on Monday to Thursday, and that's Now and Next. And you can find it wherever you get your podcasts. Having said that, if you want to subscribe, you can go to you can go to Spreaker.com and just search on Now and Next. Or if you're watching this on the laptop, just grab your phone and you can fire up that QR code there in the bottom right corner, and it will land you right on the Now and Next page. Subscribe, share it. Maybe you don't like it. If you don't, let me know. Maybe if there's something else that you want to talk about, by all means, let's get to it. All right, heading for the weekend. It is Friday, July the 28th, and this is the Now and Next Friday Thread. Enjoy your weekend. Now and Next is produced by Becky Coles. Our production manager is Jamie Nickerson. Audio editors are Mike Trutler and Drew Garner. And our sonic logo designer is Greg McDonald. Our executive producers are Dave and Aaron Trafford.
This is SSN.
Story Studio Network.